Harry Potter movie release, or you have Game Law, you have India Games, for example. So you have a lot of premium content. Customers are getting value for money. They're getting to play a lot of games on their mobile phone for this small amount of money. And that's why in the last 1.5 years, we've racked up approximately 600,000 users that are paying for this.
Wow, that's an impressive number.
And there is repeat usage. So it's not that the customers are paying for 1 month and then going away, but they continue paying and they continue playing also. So I think just with this new service or this new concept, the mobile gaming business has grown significantly in the last 1 year. And hopefully with 3G coming, I think it will scale a lot faster.
So 600,000 out of 650 million.
It sounds small when you look at 650 million, but that 650 million, a lot of the users are still have very legacy handsets.
What's your take?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of reason for optimism which you're not sharing, because a lot of people start off with those 1,000 rupee phones, 2,000 rupee phones, but then eventually in a year or so they want to move up. So there is that handset churn which should help your business
Absolutely,
a lot.
and if you look at all the new handset manufacturers in the market, the Micromaxes of the world, they're introducing smartphones, fantastic phones. I just saw an Android phone that they're releasing for small amounts of money. I mean, 4,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees for a fully featured smartphone. I think that's going to be a big driver going forward.
Do you see a place for the app stores? The way it's like a major wave right now, globally. How do you see that playing out in India?
I mean, honestly, from a consumer point of view, he has to, find the game, whether it's from an app store or it's from a carrier deck or from other source. It's really irrelevant from a consumer point of view. I think it's more of, operators or carriers right now trying to emulate what an iPhone or an Apple has done. But that's a different game. But I think at least the hype and the push on that will continue to promote. So if you're seeing Aircel, for example, just launched their app store called Pocket App. So they're spending a huge amount of money on television, promoting that you can access these kind of applications on your phone. So all that kind of awareness will always help.
Okay, so I have a question on the access of games. Right now, it's predominantly through the operator, and the payments for your games, whether it is on the deck of the operator or off the deck, the payments are all through the telephone prepaid or the postpaid bills. Do you see that moving to plastic at all? Do you think that there is do you ever see that movement happening where people will start using the plastic and paying you directly, so that you don't have to share 70%, 80% of your revenue with the operator?
I wish I could say yes, but I don't think in the near future.
Okay.
I think especially on the mobile phone, a lot of this consumption is very impulse based, and for people to really use credit cards on the mobile phone.
So if mobile banking, RBI frees that up, you would put a lot of hopes on that.
But I think it will take some time to evolve and develop.
Cool, that's a useful perspective. Prakash, as one of the developers who've been active in the recent times, you're also working with Sony. You have a game out there which is doing well. How do you see the developer perspective in terms of making games for India? And as a corollary, I'd like to see how do you see development opportunities per se for Indian companies at this point in time?
Thank you, Rajesh. Just a brief background, we have really not focused our energies on the Indian market. We started the company in 2007 as a services company, offering services to various publishers globally. And within about a year's time, we morphed up the value chain and became a full-size game development studio who's also publishing games ourselves. And I think to a large extent, we must thank Artin and his team for giving us that push and that encouragement to follow that path of publishing games on our own. As of today, we have published uh, one title for the Indian market on the PS2 and the PSP. We have another title coming out within the next 4 to 6 weeks for the global market on the PS2 and the PSP. Plus, we have done right now on last count about 14 titles for the PSP Go on the global market. And I think Sony pushed us there to get into that market. And what we saw was there's a huge opportunity and a huge hunger globally from IP owners, from publishers, wanting to work with studios in India to develop games for them, because they see two key drivers which are happening. One, of course, is the cost advantage of working with a studio in India, which enables them to de-risk their business model. And the second thing, which I think is heartening, is everyone sees that the markets in India, China, Korea, this part of the world are going to explode when it comes to smartphones. To give you a simple example, it's a very interesting anecdote. We were doing games with the iPhone, and we suddenly realized that we could not create games sitting in India which are culturally acceptable to the iPhone players in the US. So we changed our strategy. We started talking to the iPhone developers who have had games which have been huge successes and have been in the top 5 or 10 games within the iPhone ecosystem. And those developers were more than happy to work with us, whereby we took their titles to various other platforms all over the world on joint publishing deals, and which economically I think is a huge advantage for every Indian developer, because let's be honest, the iPhone ecosystem is less than 20% of the global market. And there is 80%, the Android platform, the BADA platform, the Windows 7 platform, the PSP Mini platform, the DSi platform, the WiiWare platform, which no iPhone developer is looking at, and those IPs are proven and successful. And we have done that model now, right now, successfully with 3 major large publishers who have had titles in the top 10. And now we're rolling out those titles published by us across global platforms, across global markets. So I see a huge opportunity for the game developers out of India getting into joint alliances with IP owners or successful publishers in the US or the UK, and cracking open the global market with their products. And we have seen success coming there. And I believe that once you start doing that, you build a portfolio of games which you can also sell aggressively with Vishal or with Nizara in the Indian market. For example, right now we have a portfolio of 60 games which we have not even launched in the Indian market, which will now come once the Indian market gets ready to explode. And I see that as a huge opportunity for every developer in the Indian market.
So you've done a really smart thing of, most of us who've been in development in India have faced questions of, you Indians get Western sensibility, you guys don't have the background of playing games, so how can you make games? So you turned that disadvantage, by just bypassing that completely and working with these iPhone developers and taking on all the other platforms that they are not making games for. So that's a pretty interesting. So do you see that going forward as being one of the major lines of business for your company?
It actually is a very big line of business for the company, and currently we have, I was just telling you, we have 150 titles under development right now.
Wow, 150 titles.
And 150 titles under development across 8 different platforms, across 16 different languages. People don't realize that when an iPhone developer launches Angry Birds, for example, he launched Angry Birds in the US at 12 million downloads, but he did it only in English. So he left aside 60% of the global market on iPhone. So there's a huge opportunity for localization there, that's one. And then two, we forgot 80% of the market on the Android and the other platforms. And now the world is waking up. Android is the number two, I think the largest operating system in the world, and we have seen rave reviews for Windows 7 coming out on the mobile phone. And we are going to be having, I think the first two titles of Windows 7 will be launched at the CES show in Las Vegas. That's one huge opportunity. And one other large opportunity which we have seen, which is going to, I think, emerge in India in a big way, is the launch of the tablets. We were discussing with a large telecom provider in India just about 2 months back, and he said he has seen a slate of 40 tablets which are going to be launched in India between now and next June.
40 different models.
40 different models, and these are the guys who are talking to telecom.
And how many of them have got common platforms in terms of
all
software
these are going to come on Android 2.2.
Wow, so that's
All
a huge
these on
opportunity.
Android 2.2. Okay, so iPad, I'm not including iPad in this, it's all Android 2.2. And everyone is desperate for content. Absolutely. And the sense we have got is that they expect to sell about 1 million tablets next year.
The telecom guys. And this is just one telecom guy.
One telecom guy. And I was shocked at the price points being talked about, because you all have seen Samsung launching their 7-inch Galaxy tablet.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
38,000 rupees.
Yeah.
And I have talked to large telecom guys who are going to follow the US model of contract and subsidize the tablets. And I'm seeing price points of under 5,000 for tablets.
Wow.
Which are going to get launched sometime in March, April onwards. And at that price, under 5,000 with 3G content, the hunger for games is going to explode. Because I believe a tablet is one of the best gaming platforms in the world.
That's a pretty cool story. I think one thing I must add about Game Shastra, which not many people know about, is they've leveraged knowledge of expatriates very successfully, and I think they've been able to nurture development competencies far quicker than many other companies in India. And in 5 years, I think they've managed to groom their team to being able to achieve a lot of those things that he's talking about. And I think that's a result of a good strategy of using mentors from outside India, which has worked really well. So I think it's something for people who are considering entering into this business to think about. So I wanted to now get in Mike. Mike's in a very interesting space. He's a company Zibo, which spun out of a very large mother company called Qualcomm, is very gung-ho and optimistic of launching a console for the emerging market, which they have already done. They have the console already launched up and about in Brazil, and they're looking actively at the Indian market. And Mike, you heard all the other guys from the various different segments of the business and some of the things. I think one thing that can be said of most of the people out here, the one word that comes to my mind is ingenuity. And so I want to know what ingenuous idea you have for the Indian market.
Yeah, so a couple things. We did launch a console, but I think it's actually more properly positioned. It's more of a set-top box. So our kind of rationale for kind of emerging markets, we're commercial in Brazil and Mexico right now, really revolves around, we call it Play, Learn, Connect. So Play is the gaming part, but it's, we're not really after hardcore gamer at all. It's the because we're typically targeting families, SEC, Class C, D, younger kids. So once they get older, inevitably they find some way to the hardcore gaming. And our platform, it's based on mobile technology. So we not the highest end mobile technology. So it's underpowered necessarily PS2 or PSP. So we'll never win that battle if we're trying to do that. And then the learn aspect is really interactive education. So we're big believers of that. We think it's untapped in most markets of the world, even developed countries like the U.S. So that's an area we're really going to focus on in terms of trying to figure out how to